Peace and blessings, family. I am Astarius Miraculi, and today is day 24 of 100 Days of Healing. Today I'm sharing about a part of us that doesn't get a great deal of acknowledgement, and yet a very important part of us, and that is the inner child. The Holy Scripture says, unless we become as little children, we can't enter the kingdom of heaven. We can't enter or re-enter that celestial absoluteness from which we've come. So the child component of who we are is an access code to that greater divinity, and it's so important. I feel that we own that we embrace that. When we look at the propagation of the species, we see that adults give birth to children. And when we look at the evolvement, the physical evolvement of any one of our human lives, we are children first. And then who we are as an adult becomes the offspring of the child that we first were. When we arrived upon this earth, were we grown up, or did the child come first? It feels there's two components of this inner child. We have the wounded inner child, that part of us that has been wounded, that has been hurt, that has been abandoned, that has been violated, that has been so many different things. And so there's a woundedness within the inner child that is to be healed. For example, even when there's a shaming around our emotions, when we're shamed for being emotional or deeply feeling, that may very well be inner child abuse, because the part of us that needs to give movement to those emotions and those feelings is certainly the inner child. And relative to that more exalted part of the inner child, our godhood may very well rest upon that inner child component of who we are. When we arrived upon this earth, were we grown up, or did the child come first? Adult that I have come to be is offspring of the child in me. When I am severely criticizing of myself, I feel like I didn't do this very well or that very well, and I beat up on self or criticize self. It's my inner child that takes the brunt of that beating. When I accomplish something and I don't really celebrate myself for the things that I accomplish, the inner child, my inner child, takes the brunt of that denial, because it feels like that's the most creative part of who we are. It's innocent, it's pure, it's creative, it's the infinite possibility thinker, it's the infinite possibility creator. When we look at children, a child doesn't feel like they should ever be denied anything. The toddler, will cry like there's no tomorrow if you don't give them what they want, because their wiring is that they don't feel that they're ever meant to be denied anything. And I feel that that's an energy that is woven into the inner child, that we have this part of us that is an infinite possibility achiever, an infinite possibility creator. And so it feels so important that we come into a greater ownership of this essence that we are, and that we let go of putting self down. And even if our accomplishment is like really small, that we maximize the minimum and be of an exalted celebration of that. And then our inner child, my inner child, is in a appreciation for the validation, and will offer even more of its magic. When we look into the eyes of a baby, it's like looking into the eyes of looking into the universe. There's an energy and a mysticism in the eyes of a little baby that sometimes we never see quite like that again in the eyes of the adult. So there's such a powerful access code that this inner child is to the exalted resonance of heaven and our inner divinity. You know, self-validation is a salary that I pay myself for doing my life. You know, and maybe I owe myself some back pay. Maybe there's some things that I accomplished that I didn't fully celebrate. And whenever I didn't celebrate that, then it was inner child that felt cheated and maybe then withheld some of its magic because it didn't feel appreciated or celebrated for the contribution that it was making and is making to the expansion of my life, the expansion of your life. So the inner child, I feel, is the access code to the very wisdom of creation. And if we did achieve things that we didn't celebrate, let's give ourselves that back pay. And let's open to the wisdom of the little elder, the inner child that can guide us on our way back home. Even the intimacy of the gaze, a little child will lock gaze with you, particularly the infant, and never waver. You know, there's this wiring of intimate connection. And sometimes as adults, you know, it's scary for us to look into another's eyes without words and hold our gaze. So thank you for receiving this transmission. Love you so much. Good fortune in all that you are and all that you do.